Hi friends, welcome back to the Saffron Box. I'm Yamini Sharma and today in this video I'll be talking about the month of July 2023. What does this month look like? What are the planetary transits and how do these transits affect us with respect to various aspects of our life? So do remember that whenever we look at transits, you need to know your chart, you need to know your ongoing dashas, and whatever is the promise of your chart, the dasha pattern, the way it is delivering those promises to you, the transits help you in getting the results. So if you have a promise, like for example, if you have the promise of marriage, only then can a dasha or a transit bring marriage to you or get you married, right? So the first thing which you need to do is check the promises in your chart, check what the universe has given to you, and then check what is the time period when you'll get it, right? So with that, I'll begin with this video. I'll talk about the planetary transits, how does this month look like, and then thereafter, as usual, I'll go ahead sign wise. I'll go from Aries till Pisces. So check your ascendant, check your rising sign, and then with respect to that, do check the results. So let's look at the transits first. So we begin with Sun. Now Sun is currently transiting through the sign of Gemini, and by the middle of July it moves to the sign of Cancer. That is on the day of Kark Sankranti. Then we have Mercury. Mercury is currently in the sign of Gemini. It moves to the sign of Cancer, conjoins Sun, and then by the end of the month it moves to the next sign of Leo. So for Mercury, Mercury is in a reasonably good speed, and it is going to be touching through three signs. That is, it is going to be having a very short transit in the sign of Cancer, and then it subsequently moves on to the sign of Leo. Then we have Venus. Venus will be moving into the sign of Leo on the 7th of July, and subsequently by the end of the month, that is by 23rd, it also becomes retrograde. Mars is transiting through the sign of Leo. Jupiter and Rahu are conjunct in the sign of Aries. Saturn has become retrograde. I've already made a video on that. So Saturn has become retrograde on the 17th of June in its own sign of Aquarius, and Ketu is in the sign of Libra. So this covers the planetary state as of now. Now let's look at the signs. So I'll begin with Aries. Now for Aries, if you see your Lagnesh or your ascendant Lord, if you have a Aries rising, that is if you have the first sign in your birth chart is Aries, Mesh Rashi, that means you have an ascendant of Aries. So your Lagnesh is currently in the 5th house. It's in trine to itself, which is a good state for the Lagnesh, which is a good state for the overall benefit of the chart. Your Lagna anyways has a Jupiter Rahu conjunction also. But the most important part for this month is that Mercury will be moving out of the 3rd house, coming to the 4th house, and then forming a conjunction with your Lagnesh, that is with Mars in the 5th house. Mars is anyways conjunct with Venus. So there is going to be a conjunction of Mars and Mercury in the sign of Leo for some time, that is in your 5th house. Now for that, if you see, Mercury is a planet of communication. Mercury is a planet of speech. And for you, for the Aries ascendant, Mercury also is a functional malefic because it owns the 3rd as well as the 6th house. So Mercury touching these three houses and then getting conjunct with the Lagnesh could give in chances where your speech, your communication or your intelligence can work in a different manner, right? So you could say things which you don't mean to. You could communicate in a way which is not proper, right? So the first thing which you need to manage is your communication. Secondly, if in case you have any health issue with regard to your nerves or skin, etc., then also you need to be careful with respect to your health, because Mercury rules the sixth house also, as I said, and the third also. So your health is taken care of by Mercury also to some extent, right? So here the Mars, Mercury and Venus conjunction in the fifth house could give rise to some health issues which you have to see. Also, this could also be a month where there would be a lot of chance for your creativity to come out, for you to express yourself very well. So if you are in that profession, or if you are in that field where you need to creatively express yourself, make use of this opportunity. Mars and Venus together over here can give you the desired passion, the desired go or the drive to express your creativity, be creative with your ideas. This could also be a challenging month with respect to those who have children, right? So there could be some communication problem, or there could be some issues which you face with respect to your children. So if you have children who are say 12, 13, 14, little big enough, adolescents, or a little bigger than that as well, grown up children, so then in such a case you need to be careful with respect to your communication with your children. So if you need to discuss something very important, hold on for some time, or make sure that you're speaking very convincingly, right? Mars and Venus conjunction together in this house can also give problems with respect to this, with respect to the relationships of that house. So that is something which you need to be careful about. Also, some of you may look at a change in location, or a change in your job, etc. as well. So again, a time to explore opportunities, but not to be impulsive regarding anything. Then I move on to the next sign of Taurus. So for Taurus, your Lagnesh is conjunct with Mars in the fourth house. So we have a Mars and Venus conjunction to begin the month. And Mercury, which is again a very important planet for you, it's your fifth lord. Mercury is moving out from the second house to the third, and finally it joins up Mars in the fourth house. Again, communication within the family. How are you communicating within the family? How aggressive are you sometimes? And this will specifically hold for people who are living in joint families, etc. Right? So check your speech, check the way you communicate, you put across your ideas to people. Also keep a check on your relationship with your mother. How are you handling your relationship with your mother? Are you doing things which are not good for her? Or does your relationship need some more time and need some more energy, some more quality time to be spent with each other? So that is again something which you'll have to see. Also, for some of you, this could be an important month with respect to property matters, right? So you may want to sell off some property or some vehicle, etc. I'm talking about big vehicles, luxury vehicles, etc. Right? So high value items is what I'm talking about. So here for you, this could be a month where you want to take any decision regarding property matters. My word of advice would be to be a little careful, do your Reiki well, understand, discuss your ideas properly with the right people, with professionals, or take proper legal guidance, and only then go ahead with any kind of a sale or purchase of land or property, or big vehicles also for that matter, right? So that is something which you'll need to be careful about. Saturn is in the 10th house, and Saturn also looks at or rather aspects the fourth house, where I'm talking about all these property issues, etc. So here a lot of things will have to be reevaluated, right? So that is something which you'll have to manage and balance, because a lot of you will spend time on all these issues, on property, vehicles, etc. So make sure that your work, your professional side is also not getting neglected, right? Then I move on to the next sign of Gemini. So for Gemini, your Lagnesh, that is Mercury, at the beginning of the month, we see Sun and Mercury conjunct together in the first house, in the Lagna. and then thereafter we see Mercury moving into the second house. Sun also subsequently moves out by the mid of July. Then we also have a Mars and Venus conjunction in the third house. Mercury joins Mars in the third house as well. So here a lot of play of energy in the first, second, third houses, right? And we anyways have Jupiter Rahu conjunction in your 11th house, which is for the benefit. So your material desires. Now this month you see that a lot of material desires are being looked into. So there are a lot of wants, there are a lot of desires which you focus on, and you are able to fulfill those desires as well, right? So this is a month to focus on new initiative, focus on new things to be achieved, new material desires to be managed, right? So materialistically I would say this is a month of gains, a lot of action is what you see. But otherwise, relationship wise, I think this is something this month you need to be careful, especially with your relationship with your siblings, younger siblings, your neighborhood, etc. So you could run into troubles with these people. So manage the environment effectively, and whatever you do make sure that you're getting professional advice before taking up any initiative. Now here with the Lagnesh as well as Mars sitting together in the third house, there is a high chance, Mercury is a very it's a princely planet. It's not a very mature energy, and Mars is very impulsive energy. So when these two things combine together, there are chances that you take up things which you may not be able to finish to the end, or there are you take up things which do not suit you very well in due time, right? So that's why I'm saying taking up professional advice is very important regarding things. A lot of you may meet somebody interesting in their friend circle, in their social circle, etc. So I'm talking about romantic liaisons over here. So if you're in that age and stage where you're looking at matrimony, etc., I think this is going to be an eventful month for you as well. Then I move on to the next sign of Cancer. So for Cancer, to begin the month, we see Mercury and Sun together in your 12th house. Mercury makes a dash through the sign of Cancer along with Sun, and then joins Mars in the second house. Mars and Venus are conjunct in your second house, which is again a good sign when planets come together in the second house and they are being aspected, and you have wealth yogas in the chart. Then this also shows a period of gain of income or gain in your material wealth, right? So second house is the Dhan Bhav, or the house of accumulation, house of wealth. And when Mars and Venus together, especially Venus, which is right now transiting through the second house, which is going to transit through the second house, they come together, there are high chances of stepping into some major gain. Now this could come through your family, this could come through your inheritance, this could be family money which comes to your name, which comes to your account specifically, right? So gain of income, gain of luxury items is also indicated. Again, the disclaimer is that you've got to check your natal chart. If your natal chart promises good wealth yogas, then this could be a good period for you as well. At the workplace, you'll have to be a little careful. Make sure that you are not indulging in any gossip or loose talk, because that could land you in trouble. There could be a high chance of getting into office politics, office gossip, etc., which wastes your time and doesn't serve you, and ultimately you lose out something, you lose out your peace of mind, or you lose out your reputation out there. So that is something which you'll really have to keep in mind. Health wise, this could be a good period, especially the second half. And those of you who have any chronic ailments, if you have any chronic health issue going on, I think you'll really need to get yourself checked properly, right? So from the health side, if you have any chronic problem, check yourself, get an appointment and do your tests, etc., on time. Then I move on to the next sign of Leo. So for Leo, we have Mars transiting through your ascendant transiting through your first sign, and Mars is in the sign of Leo, that is, it is in the sign of its friend Sun. Good energy. Leo people, after a very long time, after Mars being in debilitation, being in the 12th house, Mars is an important planet for you also. It's your ninth lord, it's your Yoga Karak planet because it owns the fourth and ninth house also. So, here, once Mars is now transiting through the Lagna, this will be a period of gaining strength, gaining back your confidence also. Mars is that energy, it's that stamina which keeps us going, right? So here this transit of Mars is pretty good for the Leo ascendant, but at the same point in time, Venus is also going to be joining up this particular conjunction, this particular space, the first house. So Mars and Venus will be together, and we have Mercury and Sun in the 11th house to begin the month. This will be a period of gains, gain of wealth, gain of your wish fulfillments will happen because Mercury and Sun together, Sun being the Lagnesh and Mercury being the second lord and the 11th lord. This is a very good combination for the Leo ascendant. They are together in the 11th house. So at least the first half of the month will be a good time materially and otherwise. The second half sees a spike in expenditure. There could be expenditure on travel, on long distance travel. Some of you may also be relocating, shifting places, relocating their place of work or their place of residence, etc. Right? So make sure that whatever you're doing, whichever big decision you're taking, it's not on impulse. Mars in the first house can give you that impulse, can make you just take action and then think about things later, right? So take care of the impulse factor. And apart from that, if you have any health problem, if you are undergoing any matrimonial issues, any issues in your relationships, in your marriage, etc., then also in this particular month you need to be careful. Saturn is retrograde, that means it's more powerful, and it is aspecting the Lagna. Saturn is not a beneficial planet for the Leo Lagna. It owns the 6th house and the 7th house, so it is a Trik lord as well as a Marka lord. So here one has to be careful with respect to health, with respect to matrimonial issues. If you have any legal conflicts going on, then this could be a time where you could come across something very unexpected and you've got to deal with it suddenly, right? So that was for the Leo ascendant. Then we move on to the next sign of Virgo. Now for Virgo, this month we see Mercury and Sun, that is your Lagnesh Mercury, in the 10th house to begin with. Then Mercury makes a quick turn to Cancer, and then finally it joins Mars in the 12th house. Mars will be conjunct with Venus in the 12th house in the sign of Leo. Now for you, Mars is first straight malefic. It owns the 3rd as well as the 8th house, but it is sitting in good dignity in the 12th house. So this could be a period of sudden journeys, sudden changes, sudden transformations, sudden expenditures, and all these could be big ticket expenditures, right? So if you are undergoing a good dasha, then this may be, these expenses may be on good things. But if you're undergoing a dasha also which is not too favorable to you, then these expenses could be on things which you don't want, like health expenditure, expense in hospitals, etc. Suddenly you've got to get something big repaired, these kind of things. So this is a month of suddenness. Do not be too extravagant with your money. This is a time to save money, save your resources, because all of a sudden I see outflows happening from your pocket, right? Also there could be expenditure on luxury items. Many of you would be spending or would be picking up vehicles or luxury goods, jewelry, etc. as well, right? So that is how the month looks like. Some of you may also get into sale and purchase of property. Now this property could be inherited property also, right? So some inherited property could come to you, or you may like to dispose of some inherited property or inherited assets, right? So that's what I see for the Virgo ascendant. Next comes the Libra rising or the Libra ascendant. Now for Libra, we have Ketu in your ascendant. Then apart from that, we have Mercury and Sun in your 10th house. Mercury is your Bhagesh, it owns the ninth house, it is conjunct with Sun. Sun is your 11th lord also in the 10th house. So this also gives some boost to your reputation at work. So till now, if you were just logging it out and sort of not seeing the rewards, I think this is a time where you see some uh, rewards coming your way. Rewards in terms of good reputation, good words, or a pat on the back by your superiors, some praise coming your way, some kind of recognition comes your way in this particular month. Also, Venus, which is the Lagnesh, is sitting in the 11th house along with Mars, right? For the majority of the days in July. Venus will also become retrograde by the 23rd. So, being the Lagnesh, when it becomes retrograde, also again it gains strength as well. So, here a lot of things will hover around material achievements, what you're gaining from your circumstances, what you're gaining at work. This will also be a time where you have a lot of social interactions. So this is going to be a very busy month for you. There's going to be a lot of interactions with new people and a lot of learning opportunity. So this seems to be a good month for the Libra ascendant. But I would say that in the later half of the month, that is after the 23rd, when Venus also becomes retrograde and it gets conjunct, it stays more close to Mars, then at such a time you'll need to be more careful regarding your health. So keep your diet in check, keep your routine in check, and make sure that you're staying healthy as such. Then the next ascendant is Scorpio. So if you have a Scorpio rising, Scorpio ascendant, your Lagnesh, that is Mars, is conjunct with Venus in the 10th house once Venus enters Leo, right? So you'll have a Mars and Venus conjunction in the 10th house, which is a good sign, which is a good sign for many people who are undergoing any kind of a conflict. So if you are in a legal conflict, or if you are at a stage where you have to strike a deal with anybody, this is a good sign, right? So here you could bring matters to the surface and clear up a lot of matters, right? This could also be a time where you come into confrontation with your bosses also, right? Mercury, which is not a very benefic planet for you. Mercury owns the eighth house also for you. Mercury is in its own sign right now along with Sun, and from there it moves to the ninth house, and then further on meets Mars in the 10th house. So one thing which you have to be very careful about is your communication with your superiors. So do not get into any ego hassles, do not get into any unnecessary arguments with your superiors. That is something which is very important. Um, Luck will favor you. A lot of alliances can be formed if you're looking at any deal, as I said in the beginning for Scorpio. All those things can be done, but be a little less aggressive. Do not get into any unnecessary altercation with anybody, right? Apart from that, Saturn, which is retrograde currently, is also looking at your 10th house. So you need to be very mature at your work dealings or anything, any serious matter which you're dealing with, right? So make sure that you have all the necessary information with you, and only then you take any action. Then I move on to the next sign of Sagittarius. So for Sagittarius, this month we have Saturn retrograde in your third house. We have Jupiter Rahu conjunction in your fifth house. which has been going on for a long time. Then we have Mercury and Sun together in the um, seventh house, and from there they move to the eighth house. Mars and Venus will be together in the ninth house. Mars is your fifth lord, and it is currently there in your ninth house, which is a good thing because it strengthens your lagna. It is in trine from the lagna, and Jupiter is also aspecting Mars. So this is a time where you'll be able to focus a lot on your future plans, focus on your children, focus on how your children are progressing, their growth, etc. If you're looking at childbirth, if you're looking at conception, then also this could be a favorable time, provided Dasha is also supporting it, right? So for many of you, this also could be a period of a change of job or a change of role. So whatever your role and responsibilities are, there might be a change over there or a upward movement. So you could see some progress at work, etc. Right? Materially, this seems to be a good month. For many of you, this will also be a month of a lot of travel, a lot of to and fro from places. So this is going to be a very active month. Make sure that you are managing your relationship with your father properly. So there are no arguments, or there are no differences which come in between you and your father or your teachers, etc. So do not get misinterpreted or misunderstood. That is something which you'll have to watch out for. If you are married, the in-laws side also will have to be taken care of. So how you're managing them will also be a little challenging this particular month. Then I move on to the next sign of Capricorn. So for Capricorn, this month we have the Lagnesh, that is Shani in the second house, retrograde, so in a good strength with good cheshta bal. We have Jupiter and Rahu together in the fourth house in the sign of Aries. We have Mercury moving from the sixth house, then to the seventh, and then finally to the eighth house, right? So eighth house anyways has a Mars and Venus conjunction, which will go on for many days in this particular month. So here a lot of focus will be on wealth matters, will be on insurance matters, etc. For some of you, if some inheritance matter was stuck till now, then you may see some traction here, right? Overall, your health and vitality has to be seen. So you may see yourselves coming under seasonal diseases, seasonal problems, etc. as well. So keep your vitality high, keep your overall health, in check. So you want to keep your routine, etc. in check. Then they could also be, for some of you, if you are already going through any chronic health issues, this month could see a rise in expenditure. So there could be more expense on your health checks, on medical visits, etc. So this month sees difficulties in the beginning, and as the month passes by, these difficulties get sorted out. So that is how this month looks like. Difficult at first, and then slowly and gradually health wise and other issues also get cleared up. For some of you, as I mentioned at the beginning, there could be inheritance matters which you focus on. If you're undergoing any litigation, etc., then this month could see some traction. So those of you who are under any legal conflict, this may see some traction in your favor as well. Then I move on to the next ascendant of Aquarius. So if you have Aquarius ascendant or Aquarius rising, your Lagnesh Saturn is retrograde and currently sitting in the Lagna itself, sitting in the first house itself. Then we have Jupiter and Rahu together in the third house. We have Mercury and Sun as of now in the sign of Gemini, that is in your fifth house, and from there Sun moves to your sixth house, and Mars and Venus will be together most of the month in your seventh house, right? So here I see this month throwing up some difficulties in your partnership, difficulties in your dealing with the other parties, as in your spouse or your business partner, anybody who's equivalent to you, right? So your partnerships in general, I see difficulties there. So that is something which you'll have to be careful about. You might meet a lot of new people. Your social circle might increase. So keep your eyes and ears open on about whom you're dealing with, whom you're meeting with, right? So, and how are you projecting yourself? That is something which you'll really have to keep in mind. New alliances can be formed as well, but a word of caution is that you've got to be less aggressive in dealing with people. So your current relationships, your current partnership, etc., has to be handled very softly, very nicely, right? Overall, focus needs to be paid on your health as well. Saturn is retrograde, though it is sitting in the Lagna, but at the same point in time, if you have any issues related to wind, acidity, or joints, etc., then this could be a month where you may have to be a little more careful regarding your health, right? Then I move on to the next sign of Pisces. So for Pisces, this month we see the Lagnesh Jupiter in the second house. Jupiter and Rahu have been conjunct in your second house for a long time, and there are a few more weeks to go for it. So Jupiter and Rahu are together in the second house. We have Mercury and Sun in the fourth house in the very beginning of the month, and then thereafter Sun moves out, comes to your fifth house as well. Mars and Venus are together for most of the month in your sixth house, and Mercury also finally coming from Gemini to Cancer comes to Leo and joins Mars over here. So overall, this could be a period of being cautious with respect to your health. There could be issues related to hormones, or there could be issues related to like gynecological disorders, etc. If you're a female and if you have these problems, then you need to be more careful. Those of you who have any skin issues also need to be careful. So if you're prone to any rashes, any irritation on the skin, then this is a time where you need to be a little more cautious, right? This month of July anyways makes one prone to illnesses, prone to issues, health issues, because it is raining most of the time, and the sun also is not visible most of the times. When the sun is visible, most of the times you're able to derive a lot of energy. Otherwise, a lot of people face a dip in their vitality during this particular month, especially Pisces ascendant, right? So that's why I mentioned it for the Pisces rising sign. So you've got to be careful regarding your health, and you've also there'll also be a lot of focus with respect to your education. So if it qualifies for you, there could be chances of higher education which come up. So if you're looking at any admission to any high universities, etc., then this month could bring in some good news. Otherwise, there'll be a lot of focus on your children's education if it qualifies for you, right? There could also be a good chance of travel. So travel related to work and travel related to education is highly indicated for the Pisces ascendant, right? So that was about all the signs in a jiffy, and I'll meet you very soon in the next video. Till then, take care and God bless.